Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm going to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh be in the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God. Yahweh Shai be in the name of his beloved Son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus. This is the brother Yair Radah out of WFI Indiana camp, coming to y'all with a quick cold cut through the spirit. Will you avenge your nation? All right. Will you avenge your nation? All right. This is going to be quick. We're going to just get a couple precepts. But first, I want to get the definition, right, of avenge. Right. Got it right here, right? This is the definition of avenge. It says to avenge, to take vengeance, to avenge oneself, revenge, punish, take vengeance. Here's another definition. It says to exact satisfaction for a wrong by punishing the wrongdoer. All right. So are you going to be somebody that avenges your nation? Are you going to be somebody that puts your nation back where it's supposed to be? Are you going to punish the wrongdoers, okay, of these other nations, the ones that have done wrong by us? Because if you're not into avenging and getting revenge, then, I mean, your spirit is not all the way there. You understand that when we say revenge, we're not talking about in the evil manner. Yes, we know the Lord said, vengeance is mine, save the Lord, but let me get this real quick also. Let me get this in the book of Nahum. All right, this is the book of Nahum, chapter 1 and verse 2. Right, it says, God is jealous and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. You see that? So even the Lord is going to move in the spirit of revenge and avenging and doing what? Revenging his people. You understand? It says, God is jealous and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he will and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. Let's get another one in the book of Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy 33 or 32. Is it 32? All right, bear with me. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 43. It says, rejoice, or so like I'm gonna start at 42. All right, it says, I'm gonna start at 41. So like this whole chapter is mighty, right? But it says, if I wet my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies, and I will reward them that hate me. It says, I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and the captives from the beginning of revenges upon my enemy. Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. So the Lord is going to be merciful towards his people. You understand? And he's going to avenge and take vengeance, you understand, upon his adversaries. And he's going to avenge the blood of his saints, the blood of his people. All right. Now we have to move in the spirit of avenging and revenge as well. But the way that we're going to do it, Lord willing, is through getting ourselves together in righteousness, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. Because we got to fight. And when I say fight, I'm not talking about physically. Okay, physically, you can go to war physically with the nations right now if you want to. It's probably not going to bode that well. You understand? It's not time for that right now. But what it is time to do, all right, let's get that in the classic, matter of fact, in the book of Psalms. All right. It's the book of Psalms. All right. Chapter 94. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 94, and verse I was just looking at it. It's the book of it's the book of Psalms, chapter 94, and verse 16. It says, who will rise up for me against the evildoers? So who's going to rise up You understand, against the evildoers? Who's going to rise up for righteousness? All right, who's going to stand on behalf of the Most High God? Who's going to stand for the Lord? Who's going to stand for justice and righteousness and being, you understand, on one accord with the Lord? It says, who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? So that's how we're going to do it, by standing up, you understand, against the workers of iniquity. By standing up, you understand, against the evildoers. And doing what? The opposite, which is being a righteous doer. Moving in the spirit of the Lord. Moving in the spirit of keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. Moving in the spirit of loving one another when it comes to our people and our nation. Moving in the spirit of knowing and understanding that when we get ourselves together and when we move in the right spirit of the Lord, guess what? This nation falls down. This nation and these other nations, they don't like to see us prosper. All right, and because when we do come together and we on one accord in righteousness, we moving in the spirit of the Lord. Let's go to Deuteronomy. This is how they supposed to look at us, because the state in which we in now, it's not how we're supposed to be. It's not like the Lord wanted to bring us low. Matter of fact, before we get this, actually, I'm gonna just keep going. All right. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, in verse, we're going to start at verse 6. All right. It's the book of Deuteronomy 4 and 6. It says, keep therefore and do them, talking about the commandments. It says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. This is how the nation's supposed to look at us. When we're in our perfection, when we're in our laws, statutes, commandments, they're supposed to look at us like a wise and understanding people. But now how do they look at us? Like niggas, thugs. We hate, all we do is degrade, less than, so on and so forth. But once upon a time, they didn't always look at us like that. They used to call us gods. They thought we was gods because they understood the power that we had with the Most High God. But now we're detached from that because of our sin and our iniquities. Okay? It says, reading on, for what nation is there so great who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? It says, and what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? What nation? Guess what? No nation does. It's the reason why Muhammad, you understand, interrogated the Jews and our customs and our statutes and so on and so forth to get his nation in order. And used our blueprint, you understand, to try to get this nation in order. It's the reason why America tries, you understand, to model their governments and different stuff like that after the things of the law, even though they go contrary, you understand, towards it. But it's a reason why people are drawn, and it's the reason why this is the #1 selling book. Because of what's in it, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and the commandments that's in it, that brings man, you understand, closer to the Lord, or that brings man and gets man, I'll just say, in order. Has the ability to get man in order. Households in order. Nations in order. All right, so us having these different things, guess what? We got to hold nigh unto them, or draw nigh unto them. And draw nigh unto the Lord first and foremost. But we do that by doing what? The commandments, having faith on Yahweh Shai. All right, getting our households in order, because when we do those different things, guess what? The nations, they don't like that. This is how the nations like to see us. All right, it's the book of Jeremiah, or actually, it's called Lamentations. The book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 1, It says, how hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with the cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. So guess what? We got cast down from that estate of being looked at as a nation that's full of wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Nations saying this is a wise and understanding people. What people on the earth have a God that's nigh unto them, like this people. From being at that point and having the other nations calling us gods. You read about that in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 4 and 6 on down, where they said, who shall deliver us out of the hands of these mighty gods? For the God that delivered them out of Egypt is coming to the camp, paraphrasing greatly. All right, but when you read that, these nations had a certain respect for us at a point in time. And it's not about necessarily gaining their respect, but it's more so about avenging your nation, getting your nation back into that point, getting your nation, and being someone that's helping the nation get back to that point, instead of being somebody that's dragging your nation and holding your nation back. Your nation is trying to move forward, and you the one that's in the back, right, dropping the rope, or watching everybody else do the work, or you afflicting the people do the work. Here it is, you got your people trying to build the nation, and you just being somebody that's hindering it. All right, you don't want to be like, let me get this real quick in Ezra chapter 4. Right, it's the book of Ezra chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you. All right, so you don't want to be somebody that's like, hey, I can help, let me build with you, so on and so forth. Meaning, or in other words, and through the spirit, you kind of want to be in this thing. You kind of getting into this thing. But then you get into this thing, and instead of helping your nation, you're actually hurting your nation. You're actually afflicting your nation. You're actually holding your nation back. Or you somebody that's not even trying at all to even be a part of this change, to be a part of avenging your people and your nation. So you end up, right, I'm going to drop down to verse 3. So you end up being like this. Or Salakia, I'm going to drop down to verse 4. So you end up being like this. It says, then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia. So you don't want to be like that. Somebody that's hindering the work. Somebody that's working instead of working for the Lord and working for your people to get to that point of avenging your nation. You understand? You working against them. Instead of rising up, being somebody that's rising up against the evildoers, you rising up with the evildoers. All right? And you don't want to be like that. Okay? You want to be somebody that's gonna build, that's willing to build, that's willing to help. You understand? That's willing to do the things that need to be done to avenge your nation in righteousness by doing what? Keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. All right? Real quick. I'm going to go back to Lamentations chapter 2, but I want to drop down to verse 15. All right, this is the book of Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Right? Rhetorical, being a smart question, a smart remark. Saying, is this supposed to be, you see Jake pants half off his behind, fighting one another, shooting one another, always arguing with each other. Just Eve all out of order. Jake don't know how to be a man, all out of order. Right? They say this supposed to be God's chosen people. This supposed to be the perfection of beauty. This supposed to be that wise and understanding people. If somebody ever look at you and have that type of mind frame or mindset about you, you understand you got to really examine and check yourself. And it doesn't even have to be on that type of level. You understand? Even if you in this thing and you in this truth and you somebody that's just you you kind of in it when you want to be in it. You in this thing when you want to be in it. You in it on Friday, Saturday, then all the rest of the days throughout the week, you kind of just a nigga, or you a nigga woman. All right, at your workplace, they don't know you as, you understand, a well-mannered man or woman. You know, somebody that fear the Lord. You know, kind of, you might keep to yourself, or you might talk here and there, but it's just a certain light that's about you. They don't know you as that. They know you as, oh, he crazy. He always trying to talk to all the women. He do this, he do that, or oh, she crazy. She be doing X, Y, and Z. No. You don't want to be that way. All right, let's go to the let's go to the Apocrypha. Salaki. Let's go to the book of First Maccabees. Let's go to the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse. This whole chapter fire, but I'm gonna get right to the point. We start at verse 50. I want to read more, but it's cool. We're gonna start at verse 50. We're gonna start at verse 50. It says, "Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers." Right? It says, "Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name." And that's the spirit we want to move in. We want to move in the spirit of being zealous for the law. In order to be zealous for the law, you got to know and remember the law and keep it nigh unto you in righteousness. You understand? It says, "And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers." It says, "Call to remembrance what great acts our fathers did in their time." So guess what? You want to make sure that you applying these precepts to the best of your ability. The only way you can apply the precepts is by knowing and meditating on the precepts. You understand? Like you read about in Psalms 1 and 1. All right. Also, it says, actually, I'm going to start up just a little bit. I'm going to start, or actually, instead of starting up, right, let's get another precept. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 13. It's the book of First Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 6. All right, it says, "Doubtless I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary and our wives and our children, for all the heathen are gathered together to destroy us of very malice." So it said, doubtless. You want to make sure you're moving in the spirit of not having doubt. All right, you want your hope to be in the Lord at the end of the day, and you want to have hope that the Lord will deliver us and your people. Okay, and you want to make sure that you're doing what needs to be done in order to even have that hope of Lord willing, the Lord will deliver me and my household. Lord willing, the Lord, you understand, will is going to deliver, the nation, and have come to pass the things that He's written aforetime about delivering His people, because the Lord promised that He would. All right, the Lord is not going to be slack. The Lord is not going to be or isn't slack. His timing is going to be the perfect timing, and we want to make sure that we are part of that and helping that forward instead of holding the nation back and being a part of the problem, but being a part of fixing the problem. All right, and then we're gonna get that in the classic in Deuteronomy chapter 30. All right, but reading on, or I'm gonna read that one more time. It says, "Doubtless I will avenge my nation." It says, "And the sanctuary and our wives and our children, for all the heathen are gathered to destroy us of very malice." And guess what? Well, how did they do that? They did it through wars. But it wasn't just about the wars. It wasn't just about fighting and killing. You understand? But guess what they did? They got the altar back together. They got the temple back. You understand? They cleansed the sanctuary. They cleansed the temple. They dedicated the altar. You understand? They got the things put back in place in righteousness and got the nation moving in righteousness, moving in the spirit of keeping the commandments. That's the main thing. Yeah, all praise to the Most High for the wars that they went through and the wars that they did win. But on the deeper level, what was the wars for? It was to establish righteousness, to do what? To avenge the nation. You understand? To bring our laws back, to cleanse the temple, to cleanse the sanctuary, to dedicate the altar. All right. So that's the spirit we want to move in. Not the spirit of going out and start and being overzealous and start punching on different nations. That's not going to do nothing at this particular moment in time. But instead doing what? Moving in righteousness, trying to get, you understand, the nation in order, trying to get these things in order, getting your household in order, cleansing your household the same way how they had to cleanse the temple and dedicate the altar, cleanse the sanctuary, so on and so forth. You want to make sure you cleansing yourself. The tabernacle that's within you, you understand, cleansing your household, and then as best as you can, try to cleanse the nation, whether you go out to the highways and byways or not. You can each one teach one, like they say in the world. You might pass out a flyer, you might break down the scriptures every now and then to somebody that asked you a question about your fringes. They might see your fringes, ask you a question. There may be a door for you to walk through to be able to do what? To be able to break down the scriptures. Let somebody know who they are according to the Lord, and let your light so shine. Okay, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and 1. It's the book of Deuteronomy 30 and 1. It says, "And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul." So when you come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, come back to serve the Lord in righteousness, have faith on him, have faith on the one who has sent, which is Son, Yahweh, right? It says, verse 3, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity. That's avenging your nation. You understand? Doing the work of the Lord the best that you can, getting yourself in order, getting your household in order, moving in the spirit of righteousness, moving in the spirit of these laws, statutes, and commandments, moving in the spirit of having hope and faith in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's how you avenge your nation. Day by day, you understand, doing the work of the Lord. All right. It says that then the Lord God will turn thy captivity and have compassion on thee, and will return to gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God have scattered thee. I'm going to drop down to verse 7. All right. Classic. It says, "And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." So when we do our part in avenging the nation, the Lord is going to, he's going to put everything else in place. As long as we just got to do our part. You got to do your part. All right. You can't avenge a nation being wicked, abominable, slothful, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, half in, half out, don't know what's going on. You can't do it like that. All right. So I'm going to get this. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 35. It says, "To me belongeth vengeance." This is the Lord. He said, "To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time." So these nations, guess what? They foot gonna slide in due time. And it's already in that motion of sliding. It says, "Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste." And that's what we hoping, and that's what we believe in, and that's what the Lord is going to take care of through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? So Lord willing, this video is edifying. Our Baratazah brothers and sisters can understand that we got to make sure that we avenging our nation in these last days, okay? By doing what's called upon us to do in these last days. Standing up against the evildoers, standing up for righteousness, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, getting ourselves in order, getting our households in order, and to the best of our ability, help getting the nation in order. All right, so Kwam Yasha Allah. Shalom.